Hi everybody, this is TheWhisperCorner. You can call me Captain. How are y'all? So, I've just been sitting downstairs listening to some music and playing a game on my phone that I'm playing far too much on my day off. And I thought I'd stop and make a ramble and say, hello, how are y'all? I'm in a lot of pain. Thanks for asking. I'm in a lot of pain. I spent the morning painting my front fence, and about 6 weeks ago I had sciatica, and I thought the pain would never go away, and I never complained about it to anybody because I never complain about anything. And I went to the physio. He showed me some exercises. It was great crack standing there with my moobs hanging out in front of some random man. And then I did the exercises, and he showed me the exercises. He said, "You've got mild sciatica. The pain will go away in a few weeks." And I said, "I want it to go away now." And he said, "That's not how it works." And I said, "Well, then I'm not going to pay you." And he says, "That's not how it works either." And I said, "Okay, you win." So I did the exercises, and the pain went away in about 3 weeks. And then this morning I painted my front fence. That was a mistake because I'm in pain. I've let everyone in my family know that I'm in pain, and the fence looks good. I did one side of the fence, and I came into the house, had lunch, my back was killing me, and then I thought, I'll go out and take it easy and do the other side of the fence, and I may have I'm not just a pretty face, but obviously I am just a pretty face. I should have just waited till tomorrow, because I finished the fence. It's a beautiful job, and it's my back's killing me. So I'm taking a wee bit of painkillers. I did my exercises for a lot longer than I usually do, just to try to loosen up the back. And with that, you say, how did I get the sciatica? Let me tell you a funny story. All goes back about 7-8 weeks ago. I was at work, and in case you don't know, I work in security, and there was this drunk man came into where I work, and he wasn't allowed to travel because he was blizzard. So we thought, we'll take the man down, get him a taxi, he'll go home, and Bob's your uncle, somebody else's problem. Unfortunately, the man didn't like me because I'm fat. Now, obviously there's nothing wrong with the man's eyesight, but his personality left a lot to be desired. So he spent about an hour threatening to knock me out because I'm fat and no excuse for a man. And I was like, love my job. And then a taxi pulled up. Taxi saw him arguing with some security guard, and taxi driver drove on. And apparently that was my fault. So the man continued to tell me how he was going to knock me out. And there was a few other staff there as well. He didn't like the other fat guy, and he liked the thin guy. So there's an excuse to lose weight if ever there was one. So eventually he passed through where I work and was out on the main doors, continuing to threaten everybody who looked at him that I'm going to knock you out. There was no police, by the way. The police were not in the area. the management rang for the police and were told it'll be a while, there's no one about. Oh well. So eventually the guy, he stood up and he started to unbuckle his jeans. And the manager says, "Stop right now, or we'll have you done for indecent exposure." And he says, "I think that big fella would like what I'm going to show him." I wouldn't have. So he decided against putting it out, taking it out, put it away, and he walked away. So where I work, there's a bridge, and on the other side of the bridge there's a drop of about, say, 25 feet. And for some unknown reason, our friend who doesn't like fat people decided to climb over the other side. I don't think he realised at the time that there was a drop. So the manager and myself went running down, and we grabbed a hold of him. And as we were holding on to him, stopping him from falling, just for a little change of pace, he decided to threaten to knock us out. And I was holding on to him, and I was thinking to myself, if he falls, this is going to be a lot of paperwork. And in hindsight, I should let him fall, because, it wasn't going to kill him. And so it took 3 of us to pull him back over again. And at the time, that night, I took a pain in my back. It went away after a few days. Then, about a week later, I went home to my parents. I bent down to pick up a book, and a shot of pain went through my spine like no pain any human has ever suffered in the history of mankind. I do not exaggerate. If I do anything a million times, I do not exaggerate. But thingy-majig, my bub, so that hurt, and it's back again. So, yeah, we ramble. So, I asked recently for ideas for videos, because I took time off after my cataract operation. I still need glasses. They're in the other bedroom, and I can't be bothered getting them. And I took time off, and I don't know, it's kind of a case of it's not that I can't be bothered making videos, because in a lot of things I can't be bothered doing. It's not that. It's a case of there's not much that interests me, which in this day and age is a strange thing to say, a bad thing to say. But it's like I've done so many hundred videos of Sudoku, so many football videos, so many map videos, so many geography videos, and you're just like, what now? And people give me answers for what I should do, and I appreciate those, but at the end of the day it's night time, and it's just a case of, well, there's games on my phone, and I'm watching an awful lot of TV recently. I finished, what did I finish recently? I finished The Terminalist with Chris Pratt. I finished Voyager. I finished The Boys. I haven't seen Stranger Things 3 or 4. There's certain series where what you want, so not what you want, but I want. There's certain series that just go on too long. It's like at the end of the episode, end of the season, just kill everybody. Series is over. Or maybe that's a bit extreme, but just tie it in a little bow. Finish the season, finish the show. Kaboom. It's like I watched season 1 of The Umbrella Academy. Isn't that what it was called? Umbrella Academy. Loved it. waited for whatever time it was for season 2 to come out. Watched the first 5 minutes and thought, nah. And that was it. And now I hear season 3 is coming out, but I just couldn't be bothered with the start of season 2. There was a funny story way back whenever Netflix first came out. There was a show called Altered Carbon, and it was recommended to me by a couple of guys from work, and I didn't get past the opening credits before I thought, no, not for me. And they gave me a hell of a slagging for having no patience and no attention span and various things that I can't remember. They said other things. And so there you go. So I don't know what I watch now. I was off today, I'm off tomorrow. I was toying with the idea of watching season 3 of Stranger Things. I tell you what I watched the other night. I watched Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Oh my god, what bollocks that was. Now, to be fair, it followed on from Spider-Man No Way Home, I think it was, and I haven't seen that. So I have been thinking of maybe watching it on YouTube, or I can't be bothered buying the DVD. There's that can't be bothered thing again. But I was thinking you can buy it or rent it on YouTube or Amazon. But anyway, some of this stuff was a wee bit far-fetched. Now, yes, I know it's Marvel. Yes, it's all make-believe. But there was one scene. I'm not going to curse. So what word will I change it for? Sausages. So there was one point near the end, the big boss fight, big battle at the end of every Marvel movie, where Doctor Strange was fighting somebody, and something happened, and it was so stupid that I just shouted at the TV screen, "Oh, sausages off." Now, I'm not normally one for shouting at the TV screen. That's a lie. But anyway, yeah. But then I talked to somebody at work and they says it was really, really good. And I thought, well, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but you're wrong. So there I go. So that's something else. So what else can I talk about? Where are we? Hold on a second. 14 minutes, 10 seconds. That's the funny thing about my cataract operation. With this eye, I can see great in the distance. So, after the operation, this is the operation. Don't use that finger, Kevin. This is the eye that I had the cataract operation on. £3,000, thank you very much. So, I can see great alongside it. This one, flip me, I can't even hardly make out the screen. I know the screen's there, but it's just a blur. So, yeah. So whenever I'm about the house, I don't wear my glasses. I don't need them. Everything's close. But whenever I'm out and about, I need to wear my glasses to see in the distance. I know that was contradicted what I just said, but there's a limit to how good that distance sight is. So James Webb Telescope, that showed speaking of things that are long distance, that was quite a segue, wasn't it? Quite exciting, some wonderful images. Do you know, I was watching, there's a channel on YouTube called Joe Scott, and I was watching his video talking about the images from the James Webb Space Telescope, and then I watched Dr. Becky's reaction to the photographs from the James Webb space telescope. And then I googled, are galaxies real? Yes, I know they're real. You know they're real. But, do you? It's like, I'm not saying they don't exist, but I listen to an awful lot of astronomy and astrophysics YouTube videos. I actually subscribe to more of those than I do ASMR channels. So whenever I go to bed at night, that tends to be what I have on in the background. And there's times where they're talking away and you think, they could be making all this up, and how would your average person know? Now, again, I'm not saying astronomy is made up. It's more real than astrology, obviously. I'm just saying. Maybe I shouldn't, but I did. And I'm not going to edit this. But speaking of astrophysics and astronomy, a few years ago, I went to see Dr. Brian Cox, Professor Brian Cox, in Belfast at a big arena tour. And after seeing him on lots of TV shows, I thought this is going to be fun. Not fun, but it's going to be educational. It's going to be interesting. And maybe I was too... This is funny after what I just said about do galaxies exist. But it was almost dumbed down so that everybody in the audience would understand. And at the end of it, which I didn't really enjoy the show, he's been back to Belfast, I haven't been back to see him, he'll be very disappointed. There was a Q&A session at the end, and the first question was from this little boy who asked the wonderful question, what would happen if you farted in a spacesuit? And the audience laughed, and inside I groaned and thought, yep, that's the standard for tonight. So, yeah, it's been a while since I've seen anybody live. I've seen Jimmy Carr quite a few times. I'm sort of over Dara O'Brien. I've seen Stuart Francis. I tell you, there was only two people that I've seen, apart from Brian Cox, two comedians that I've seen that I wish I had saved my money and stayed at home. Reginald D. Hunter, he was very big a few years ago in all the panel shows, and John Bishop, who just grated on me. Speaking of grated, how hard sometimes is Wordle. My segues are fantastic. This is my routine every morning. For the last 2 weeks I've been on 6 o'clock starts, 6 a.m. starts. So the first alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and then I realise that, damn, especially how I feel every morning at 5 o'clock. And then the second alarm goes off at 5:15. And then I take out my phone and I go to Wordle. And I don't get up until I finish the Wordle. And it's funny, the little feeling of satisfaction or smugness when you get it in 2 or 3 goes. I've never got it in one go. That's just a pure fluke. People who get it more than once in one go, it's called cheating. There's no way. Anyway, and then I get up and I go to work. But spend too much time playing Wordle. Well, to be fair, it's only a couple of minutes in the morning. So what's the crack we use, eh? You're just sitting there listening to me, not even getting involved. You wouldn't even think of asking me a question. How's work? Work is very busy at the moment. There are so many American tourists coming into the country. It's just like, COVID is over. Let's make up for 2 years of no holidays. And there was a wonderful tweet put out by TransLink day before yesterday, and it said, "Our trains are being delayed due to passengers getting on and off." Sorry, it was getting on and alighting the services. So there you go. Their excuse for why the trains are late is because people are getting on and off. Bloody passengers. Who said we want them there? So yeah, it's been very busy. Go away, moth. So then last month we had Hell on Earth. Moth, go away. We had Hell on Earth called Belsonic. And here's how Belsonic goes from a transport point of view. If the group, I'm sorry, just in case you aren't from Northern Ireland, Belsonic is a large music festival. Here's how it goes. If the act is an older band, generally rock music, for example, the first night of Belsonic was Iron Maiden, then the crowds are going to be older, generally well behaved. If the act is dance music, it's going to be mostly teenagers, it's going to be hell, it's going to be vomit, shouting, large crowds there. But yeah, just a general feeling of, let's just get this day over with. Oh my God, I hate teenagers. And there's another event, music festival in August. It's called Custom House Square, CHSQ, I think is the website. And the biggest DJ of the concert season is on twice, and I've booked both days off as holidays. It, fun enough, coincides with my mum's birthday, so it makes me look as if wee Kevin came home for my birthday. Actually, Mum, I'm just avoiding Ben Nicky and the not tens of thousands, but the thousands of drunk teenagers. And generally, these concerts happen after the A-level results. So it's generally, I think, the weekend after A-level results. So it's just so many people you want to slap. Funny story. I used to be a student teacher. I qualified as a teacher, but I realised pretty early into the course that I hated children. It was maths that I loved. I spent primary school and high school wanting to be a maths teacher. Did my maths degree, got my first. Did my computer science course, flopped out of that because I didn't understand computer science. Did my teaching course, qualified as a teacher, but just thought, nope. So one night I was at work. Statutes of limitations are I think fine for this. I don't work for that company anymore. But I was standing at the front door of where I work, and standing in front of me was one of the biggest nuisances from my time a couple of years before as a student teacher. And you always remember someone with the same name as yourself. So he was called Kevin as well. A wee ginger fella. And he was standing at the front door, and I think he recognised me. He was like pointing to his mates, like, there's your man, he used to be the maths teacher, blah, blah, blah. So it came to the end of the night. Shutter went down. He was still standing outside waiting on a taxi or whatever. And I walked over to the shutter, and I said, Kevin, can I tell you something that I didn't tell you way back when I was a student teacher? And he said yes. And I'm going to have to change the word that I used earlier. I can't say go sausage yourself. That almost sounds ruder than what the actual word was. But it was along those lines. It was just, he laughed and his mates walked away. And I felt like, well, his word against mine. Speaking of his word against mine, my most embarrassing moment ever in security. Many years ago, you're talking 20 years ago, my first job in security. It was in between the maths degree and the teaching degree. And one day, I saw a teenager put a load of cans of Lynx deodorant down inside his tracksuit bottoms. And I said the immortal lines, "Show me what you have in your trousers." My first thought was, what the hell did you just say? My second thought was, his word against mine. He can keep the cans of deodorant. I'm away. He looked at me, I looked at him, and I turned around and walked away. And I thought, sometimes you're not just a pretty face. Sometimes you are just a pretty face, Kevin. So, there you go. A wee ramble. If you've made it this far, write links down below. I doubt too many people will write links down below. Anyway, thanks for watching, and cheerio bye.